All right, welcome to American Hammers TV. It's the Sunday evening weekend review wrap up for November. Let's have a look here. 17th. I don't know what day it is.
What is it?
Sunday, as far as I know. We're gonna see if Charlie can come in. Charlie, what's going on?
What about now?
Yes.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, you know what happened? My little nephews, they was on the goddamn Xbox, and he had his microphone plugged into the computer.
Oh.
So I had to go through the settings and adjust it. I had to call him real quick. What you do to my computer? He said, "Oh, you got to do this and that." I said, "Hey, I told you not to." I told him not to get on there. So now I know for a fact he was on there.
That's funny.
Little jerk.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
That's awesome.
Well, you know what? You're just in time.
Hey guys,
Hey, Luiz,
Hey.
how are you?
I'm fine. Sorry, my internet connection is crazy today. So if you can hear me, just ask again and again. Sometimes I will lose some of the discussion, but I'm here.
Nice.
Oh,
No
nice.
worries. We just got started. We just went live so that we could pick up Facebook, and I see Neil is with us. It's already Monday there, but he doesn't care. He's retired.
Hey, Neil.
Hey, what's up, Neil?
Doesn't matter what day it is for Neil. Yeah. So let me tell everybody who's here. We've got Celly from California.
Yeah. Hey,
We got Liam also from California, Fresno crew. We've got Luis from Sao Paolo. And we got Charlie from Brooklyn, where I used to live for like a year.
oh, nice. Yeah, my dad's from Brooklyn. That's pretty
I
awesome.
don't really have the Brooklyn accent, right? He's got the proper Brooklyn accent. So, yeah. So before we get started, quickly, let's talk about little business stuff. Check out AmericanHammersTV.us and buy a scarf, please. And I will check the PayPal account, see if anybody's bought one for the last week or so. But we've got a shipment of new scarves in, and the old ones that were a little too red, those are gone, and we have proper claret and blue scarves. So please check those out. Also, check us out on threadless.ahtv.com, or maybe it's ahtv.threadless.com. I can never remember which. It doesn't really matter. You'll find it. An enormous amount of West Ham stuff to purchase out there. A huge amount of stuff to buy. So, yeah. So. Thank you, Alex. Glad you approve.
The 5-way.
Good to see Alex on here. Yeah, you know what? If you really wanted, this is how. I don't know if you. Oh wait, well that's actually not too bad. As we say,
Yeah, I like that.
that's actually kind of better. It's a little better, easier to see. So the best. This is the best weekend West Ham have had in a couple of months.
Yeah, right.
I would say. You know what? I just start us off with one quick thing. I'm just going to start us. I'm going to shove us all into one corner of the screen here because I want to do. Whoops, sorry, that's not what I meant to do. All right, bear with me for a minute. Sorry, I'm still figuring out how to do StreamYard here. All right, Chrome tab. All right, won't take long. Here we go. All right, now. You guys may or may not have seen the women's team had a very rough outing today. They went to Manchester City. They lost 5-0. We know that happens against Manchester City. It happened to us in the opening match of the season with the men's team. This is what Matthew Beard tweeted today. He's the coach, the manager of the women's team. You can read it for yourself. If you can't read it because it's too small, he says, "I want to apologize for the West Ham women fans that turned up to support us today. Uncharacteristic performance from us, but my fault. My fault," he says. "It's been a tough 24 hours for everyone, but we will regroup for Wednesday and show what I know we are capable of." I mean, what will it take to get something like this from Manuel Pellegrini? To get something that says, "My fault, I'll fix it, I'm on this." Are we ever going to hear this from him? Who wants to jump in first?
Never.
Shoot, he lost 5-0 to Man City too, and we didn't hear anything like that from him. But I guess it's different circumstances because that was the beginning of the year, and everybody kind of expected that.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but obviously the run of form we've had has been brutal, and all he ever does is come out and say, "I don't know," or "I would have replaced all 11 players if I could have." I mean, he's not getting. All I want to hear is him say, "I take responsibility for this. It's my club, and I will fix this." I mean, am I alone in feeling this way, or does anybody else feel the same way I do?
Well, no, you have to expect as much from your manager, right? Because at the end of the day, they have to own the performance as much as the players do. And, you know, we're all asking for better of our players. We're asking better for, you know, the veterans like your Mark Nobles, your Aaron Cresswells. And then you've got Manuel Pellegrini coming in, and it's literally cut and paste every post-match interview where he's just saying, like, you know, like you said, Lee, like, oh, I would have replaced everybody at halftime. And, you know, we had a great game plan, and then the other team scored goals. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? Like, that's football 101. Like, and I think to me, that's where I think us as a fan base gets frustrated, because he doesn't ever take ownership of it. And it's almost like, because he is this veteran, well, I've won the league before, you know, I have this pedigree, that we all just go, well, we're blessed to have Manuel Pellegrini at the helm. And it's, no, man, like, the numbers speak for themselves. If you're not getting job done, we're going to question you, and you've got to have the right answers. And if you don't, you get this. You get a bunch of pissed off people across the globe.
Yeah, you get the 5 of us and a lot of other people. Yeah, exactly. I don't know, Charlie, you got any thoughts on this?
I thought that was a heartfelt thing to say. Whether they meant it or not, at least he had the fans in mind. You know, Pellegrini comes out there and he's like, oh, well, if the team scores the more goals, we're going to lose. Well, are you kidding me? We know how it works. We don't understand what I'm saying. Just don't even come out and say nothing. Don't say nothing to me. Just give it, you know, hey, how you doing, and walk off. Don't even, because when he starts that talking, and then the other, oh, well, we just had a bad luck. No, that's not bad luck. We're getting our stuff pushed in, fellas. And I think the fans, they show passion. Some of the players show, but we just want to see that too. Are you upset? What, you know what I mean? He's just, you know, when you come out and say, well, if the other team scores more goals, we're not going to win. You know, that gets me going every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
And the way he just sits on the touchline and stares, he reminds me of Avram Grant. The last manager we had who was like that was Avram Grant. And you know what happened that season? It was a disaster, obviously. He seems so disengaged to me. That's probably what bothers me more than anything else. Is you know, not only is he not trying to come up with any answers, he doesn't look as though he cares at all.
Yeah.
He's just kind of in his retirement home. I don't know. What do you think, Luis? You haven't chimed in. What you have a take?
Yeah, I think Pellegrini lacks stamina. You know, when you're watching the game and you see, I was at the London Stadium 3 months ago. I can't remember now, but we saw that he was there on the sidelines. He's so underwhelming. You know, I can't feel motivated watching the game. I believe if I was a player and that guy was there trying to teach me how to do my stuff, I would say, come on, you're an old man, you are almost 70. I'm better than you in that. So for me, it's something like that. And I remember Charlie was saying about the other team scoring goals. He literally said that after the Burnley game. He said the problem was that Burnley scored a goal. So how that can be a problem? That's football. Right. He should have a game plan, plan A, plan B, plan C, and change his approach to the game. At the end of the day, he's just that guy that is resting on his laurels of winning the league. I don't know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever, but with Man City. But he's doing nothing different from Bilic or even Big Sam. The fans hated Big Sam because of his approach to the game. But why is Pellegrini different? He never won anything. We
don't play attacking football anymore. You know what Pellegrini is? He's Sam Allardyce without organizing the defense, right?
Right.
At least with Allardyce, we were organized in defense. The problem with Allardyce was once we conceded, he had no idea what to do. You know, as long as we kept a clean sheet and got a point, he was happy. If we conceded, everything fell apart. Pellegrini doesn't even have that. He doesn't even have the defensive organization. He just has. I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea. So we'll get back to him in a minute. I'm curious. Did anybody watch England this weekend?
No, I didn't.
No.
Okay, I didn't either.
No.
I
won't even lie about that one.
I was checking the score, but I was trying to watch the match.
So well, I was I was going to ask because I saw today that there was. I just didn't watch. I didn't see it. There was a lot of criticism of Declan Rice, as there always tends to be after he plays for England. I didn't know if anybody had any thoughts on that, but probably not. Nobody saw the game. So.
No, look, I'm West Ham till I die, but I'm also an Irishman at heart. So if England loses, that's always a little feather in our cap. I'm sorry. I know Celly and Lee, I know you guys are wearing the England badge, but nah, for an Irishman, man, like, nah, it still stings a little bit about Declan. I won't lie. It's still feel it.
That's part of the issue. Is apparently Robbie Keane is a commentator on I don't know if it's Sky Sports. He's a commentator somewhere in the UK, and he really hates Declan Rice because Declan turned his back on Ireland. So
yeah, which like don't get me wrong. Like I get it. Like the kid was raised and born in England. Like he identifies as an Englishman. Like I don't fault him for that. But like like as Americans, right, we think about with Serginho Dest, right, where born and raised in the Netherlands, but they never took a shine to him until he started doing well with Ajax. And before even that kicked on, he was coming up through the youth teams here in America. And I feel the same way. Look, England didn't give you your spot. They didn't give you your chance, but Ireland did. And you worked your way up through the Ireland ranks, and then all of a sudden England takes notice and you want to jump ship. That's where I got a problem. So there you go. That's my soapbox.
That's totally fair. I mean, totally fair. I should really, because I used to live in France, and you go ahead and take a drink if you want. There you go. I should support France. I can't. In the rugby, yes, but in the football, no. They have the worst fans. I'm sorry, but they really do. So I'm really more of an England supporter. But yeah, that's a totally fair comment about Declan. I mean, it came up through, well, it's like the same thing you get with clubs, right? I mean, of course, in our case, we always sell our best players, but you get guys like Joe Cole and Rio Ferdinand, and they came up through the West Ham system, and then we sold them off, and they became stars somewhere else, and it's galling to see, but it's worse in this case because it was Declan's choice to go in. On the other hand, I mean, he has significantly enhanced his prospects of playing in major tournaments and possibly winning a trophy at some point. So it's sort of understandable.
Yeah, I mean, I've even seen things for Manchester United, possibly not in January, but maybe in the summer for an £80 million, swap. And as much as I love Declan Rice, I mean, I don't know, £80 million for a player doesn't sound like it's a bad deal to take. I mean, as much as you might not want it to be that guy, not to say that we would sell Declan or that he would even want to go. But I don't know if you guys were the manager and it was £80 million for Declan specific, would you guys take it or no?
At this point, yeah. I don't think he's shown well these past couple weeks, and I think anybody that's seen me on here knows I'm a big homer when it comes to Mark Noble, and I feel like Mark Noble's gotten the short end of the stick because he's trying to cover so much ground and to kind of cover for what Declan's been lacking these last couple weeks. I think he goes off to the national team and he smashes it. But I think he comes back, and I still feel like he started the season better than he's clipped on at this point. So honestly, like if it stayed at this same level, and X and Dave Walker would be pissed because I know they're huge Declan fans. But yeah, honestly, I'd probably sell him off because you think of how much money that gives us to get us a second striker, right? Somebody to be up top with Allaire. Or maybe actually spend some fucking money on our defense. Like, I don't know, that to me might be a great thing. Or, I can't remember who it was, but somebody put out a tweet like how much money we've spent on keepers for the last several years. And it was like only the money spent on Yarmolenko and everything else was fucking free transfers.
Only the money spent on Fabianski, which I think was £7 million.
Yeah.
Everybody else has been a loan or a free transfer. Charlie, Luis, what do you guys think? 80 million for Declan? Or you take it or not take it?
I would, but I think West Ham is lacking the next Mr. West Ham that they have in Mark Noble, and they see that in Declan. But actually, I think that Declan is the future because he's probably gonna go. He has a high prospect. He's young and he's doing only good things for his name. So I think he will move on. So we shouldn't stick with him just to have that passion, that player coming through the ranks and from the academy and that old academy of football stuff. I think we should have the 80 million and work on our defense, our future keeper, even a new central midfielder. I think he must go if the price is right. I wouldn't be bothered if he goes. And I say the same of Issa Diop and all the young players that are building their name in West Ham now. For me, no one is unsellable or untradeable. Everyone should go for the right price.
What about you, Charlie? What do you think?
I think nobody on this whole entire squad at the moment is unsellable. And we're lacking a lot of depth. You know, if we want to play a formation with wings, we ain't got no wingers. We don't have no deep. We don't have true fullbacks. We're gonna need center backs. We got Roberto. If Fabianski, when he comes back, is his hip? Is he gonna move the same? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I would hate to see him go. That's my guy. But at the same time, if they're gonna give us 80, 90, and in the long run, I hear him mentioning Manchester, these big clubs, he's gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be honest. When his thing's up, he's gonna go. So if we could get something to turn that into a real good player, or maybe a couple players, because we're lacking depth right now. So I would hate to do it, but I think it would be best maybe financially for the team. But will they spend the money though? That's the thing.
I think that's the biggest concern for me is, first of all, my thought is I'm with all of you guys. When the season started or back during the summer transfer window, when there was the rumor that Manchester United were looking at Issa Diop for £60 million, back then I said, no, don't sell him. We need to keep our good young players. You know what? £60 million, we should have done that. If it was
we should have did that. We should have.
It may not have been true. We don't know if it was true or not. But if that was true, we should have. I'm totally reversing my take. We should have done it. And I feel the same way about Declan. 80 million freaking pounds for one guy, a central midfielder, a holding midfielder.
Well,
a holding midfielder, 80 million.
Right.
Fight their hands off for that.
Well, and it's kind of funny too. It's not a West Ham player, but Maddison, who's now on Leicester, who came up through Norwich. I don't remember the exact amount that he went from Norwich to Leicester with, but he's another player that's linked to Manchester United for almost 3 times as much as he moved over to Leicester with. Don't get me wrong, he's a quality player, but like how you were saying, Lee, and everybody else, you got to look at the future. Whether it's you sell for 80 million and you get one player for 80 million, I think you have to go and I guess have the balls, if you will, to get players who want to be there, and even if they want to play for West Ham, just players that just want to play, people that want to go out and actually put in 90 minutes. Eventually people will fall in love with the club. I think it'd be hard not to, but at the same time, if you just want to go and get a payday, I think, football fans, across the world, obviously we can see here, we're not stupid. We can see who wants to be there, who wants to work and who doesn't, and just collect a week-to-week paycheck. Yeah. So I think, yeah.
Let me throw this in. And actually, I like this question from I don't know who this is, if this is Tony but anyway, from Philly. Does anybody care about single? Other than Fabianski, not really. No, and obviously Fabianski's injured. But let me just throw this as a little wrinkle to the Rice thing. So say the 80 million thing is true. Do you trust Pellegrini, Husilios, Gold Sullivan, and Mistress Karen to spend that money properly? Do you think we'll get value from it if they get the money and spend it? That's the issue that I have right now. The only issue I have with selling him and getting the money is the people we give it to do something with.
Right. Well, and isn't that kind of the trip of it too? Is because you think about some of the decisions that they have made, like, and bringing up Snodgrass is a perfect example. Wasn't it Sullivan's son or whatever was the one that was like begging him? Yeah, that was like begging him not to bring him on. The fuck's that about?
Bashed him in the press in this dinner. Yeah. Call him in the sun.
After they put him on loan. Yeah.
And that's the thing that trips me out, because you look at a player like that Philly's good to call it out, man, because you think about Noble, right, Mr. West Ham. You think about the other ones that embody the spirit of the club. Robert Snodgrass is fucking right up there, like if not number 2 in the top 5. And I think that's the thing that's tough is like I will take a squad of players like Robert and like Mark because they have heart, because they have grit, because they're going to grind out 90 minutes. And I don't care if we lose. I care a little bit, but if we lose. But they all gave their heart for the badge.
That's all you can ask for.
That's all you ask for.
Dude, I'm sweating bullets at home, and these guys are walking out there without fucking anything. And I think that's what gets us. I think that's what grinds us up.
More effort when you're putting in more effort than they are. When you sweat more than you, that's an issue. That's a problem for me, right? Yeah. And I think any West Ham fan. Nobody expects that we're going to win titles. Nobody expects we're going to win trophies. Nobody thinks that. We just want our players to give everything they have, you know.
And think about when we look at like Leicester, right? I think everybody going into this season thought, like Charlie Boy, you said it before, like we have no depth. But I remember coming out of summer, going into the beginning of the season, we all thought we did. We're all like, oh, look at all the players we got. We got depth.
I thought we did.
It doesn't matter if we got injuries. We got backups for the backups. We got academy players on loan. Yeah. We can recall them at any time. We're going to be golden. And look how fucked we are. And it's crazy to me because we like how quickly it turned. And I know for myself, I went into the season thinking we were going to do like Leicester is doing right now. I didn't think we were going to just straight up go and win the whole league, but I thought we were going to battle for top 4, top 6 easy. And look at us, like we're sniffing around relegation right now. This is insane.
Again, I thought we could be top 6, top 8. I did. I mean, I thought that was definitely within the realm of possibility. Coming out of 10th and a disappointing season with the Arnautovic situation and everything else. Yeah, I thought we had stabilized. I don't know, Charlie, Luis, what do you guys think? 80 million, but you're giving it to that group to spend. Is it still the right thing to do?
I mean, I ain't got no choice. You already know what I think about the top guys in the suits. They're not my kind of people. So but where we're at, we gotta, we have no choice. I mean,
we don't.
I mean, I think they could have spent a little bit. I just watched some video that somebody said something about like 45 million, and they could have spent more than the net spend what they spent. And I see we weren't even in the top 15 of like Stoke, and there's like bum teams that spent way more than us. Like we're not even. It's a joke. So
Walker spent almost 100 million pounds this summer.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's gonna catch up with City with the billions. That's crazy. But I have no faith at all in the board and Pellegrini. I think Pellegrini wants these people. He wants guys. And I don't know if the article is true, but I seen something where he said he needs this and that, and they told him, hey, you said this was good. You had the squad. We gave the squad. Now, that's it. Make it work. We ain't giving you nothing else. And if that's true, I don't think that's fair, you know what I'm saying, to Pellegrini, because we've had injuries let's see, Antonio. We've had some injuries in the midfield. We've had injuries at the goalie. So I don't trust him, but I mean – I don't have no choice.
What else are we going to do? I mean, well, I'll tell you what. First of all, welcome to Ray Borum and Charlie Walsh at the middle of the night over in England. It's good to see Charlie in here. We like Charlie and Ray, along with our friends from Philly. Where's Gabe and Wally? Gabe, where are you, brother? I know you're hurting after the Longhorns lost, but come join us. Come join us. Come talk about West Ham. It's so much better.
Oh, man.
One thing too, just real quick. I don't know if anybody listened to this past week's podcast with the West Ham Way podcast, but they were talking about this issue too. And not if anybody's heard it, I won't go too long on it. But they were saying how it's kind of a slippery slope in terms of like being mad at the board for not producing players. Because I was seeing a few years ago we had pitch invaders, all that, board out, and then the board actually did open up their pocketbooks. And I think the thing that is a little frustrating is the people that Pellegrini and his people win to get, they just so happen to not pan out just yet, because I mean, you got Fornals, and in the summer he was tearing up with the U21 Spain team, and I know everybody was excited to see him, and then preseason comes and the defense was an issue then, but we were putting in 5-6 goals in preseason. So,
and that's the other side of the coin, right? With selling anybody for a lot of money is, I listen, when we bought Fornals, I was excited. When we bought Wilshere, I was cautious, but I thought, well, if he's healthy, he could be arguably our best player.
Biggest dip in football.
It's just been bust after bust. I mean, even Felipe Anderson, who might be our most skilled player, has really not looked good this season for whatever reason. He never come back to being what he was before. So I mean, the board spent £100 million a couple of windows ago, summer window of 2018, I guess. after the pitch invasions and all that. And they did. I opened up the pocketbook. They did. I don't like them. I don't think they're going to carry us very far forward in terms of progressing at the table, but they did. They spent some money and they bought what they thought was depth, but it just didn't pan out.
Yeah.
It just didn't.
And just to add on that, Lee, if you remember 3 or 4 seasons ago, we passed on Kante and we stuck with Alex Song.
Yes.
If we believe everything ex-WHO employee says, so I believe him. So we passed on Kante, passed on Madison, we passed on Tielemans from Leicester as well. We passed on a lot of players. So I don't trust him with the 80 million, but I don't trust the quality of the players they can bring to West Ham as well. Because now we have Husilius, but apparently David Sullivan doesn't like to give all the power to Husilius, and he brought Fornals, and he's being questioned for that because he's young, he's Spanish, he never been tested in Premier League, and West Ham went there and spent 5 million. So we have a problem with the selection. We have a problem with the price we are paying for the players. I don't trust neither Sears or Pellegrini or David Sullivan to hire anyone, to buy any players. So for me, we are in a state now that we just can't be hopeful in the future because, okay, Pellegrini is fired and Husilius go with him. Selection and buying players come back to David Sullivan. What do we do then?
Well, no,
we
that's
start to begin to trust them again? I don't think so.
That's a really good point. And Ray asked a question. And Ray, I'm not totally sure. He asked, "What do you think of the 60 million lost so far? Did you mean 60 million not spent well on players?" I'm not sure what he means by that. So Ray, if you follow up, we can talk about that. But let's get to something I saw a headline today, and I'm not going to bring it up on the screen because it always crashes this old MacBook that I have if I try to bring up. It was out of Hammers News, but it's been all over. Guess who thinks he's going to get the West Ham job or possibly Southampton job? Tony Pulis. I mean, okay, he would keep us up, right? He's basically Sam Allardyce, right? He would keep us up, but man, would our fans hate him. I mean, hate him. Eddie, I mean, is there any way that happens? Whoever wants to jump in, any way that happens?
No, not at all.
I don't see it.
I just can't. I mean, we need Bubbles to come back and plant the flag again. You know.
Yeah. No.
I'm all for it.
You're all for it.
Wreck the shop, boys. Wreck the shop down there. Hey, listen. When they got scared, we're not gonna sell no tickets. They're acting crazy. We better get Haller. We better get this guy. But when we were loyalty, all those years at Upton Park, love and all that got us nothing. But when we scared the shit out of them,
that's right.
Then and now Machiavelli said, fear is stronger than love. Love got us nothing. So Bubbles, wreck the shop, son. He's got a banning order, but somebody else do Bubbles.
When you say that with a Brooklyn accent, you're absolutely terrifying.
Tear the shit down.
There's somebody in the trunk of your car tied up right now. But no,
he just got to drive him over to the Hudson. He'll be fine. You know, if he washes them out to the ocean, we'll be good.
Exactly. He's got to. Yeah, that's what I figure is going on. But yeah, I can't see a big trouble. But so, I mean, let's go back to that. Let's go back to the merry-go-round we always go to. So who comes in as manager? We all want to get rid of Pellegrini, right? Everybody's Pellegrini out. We get that. But what do we do? I mean,
I got something crazy.
Okay.
Now listen, it's totally nuts, right? But it's my guy. I was watching him in a documentary, Hayden Mullins, and I'm watching him. He's mic'd up, and I'm watching him coach. He's explaining every friggin' detail. I think he's the younger guys. Where the hell is he at? Watford. He's somewhere, right? Coaching the young guys.
Yep.
But you can look it up. Look up Hayden Mullins mic'd up coaching. And I could see him. I could see poetry in motion. He's explaining everything. Midfielders. He's explaining to the strikers. You shouldn't have did that because of this. I'm actually seeing. I don't care about no name, and I think with the Pellegrini, it was cheaper to get him to make a splash. Oh, look at a big name than it was to get a player, because a player with a name splash would have probably been 20, 30 more million than Pellegrini. And and I bought it, hook, line, and sinker. I fell for it.
He isn't wrong.
Yeah, Charlie. Yeah, about what Charlie is saying. I think West Ham now needs a manager that is micromanaging every single detail of the game. We need someone to go back to the very basics. How you touch the ball in a 5-yard pass, how you shoot from outside the box. Those kind of trainings that we should expect more for 25, 30, 40 million players. But I think we need someone to go out there and do the dirty job of telling them they are not doing that right. So I don't think Pellegrini is that guy, that will go to the very basics of the game. So Hayden Mullins, whatever, we need someone to do that. But instead of Tony Pulis, because I wouldn't get him.
Now this is interesting. If I could jump in a little, Ray has given us some really good stuff here that I'm just going to post, and it's awfully small to read if you're old like me, so I'll read it to you. So we Kieran Maguire from Price of Football says West Ham have lost 65 million pounds since the Premier League was founded in 1992, a long time ago. I don't know what the time frame is for how much of that we lost when, because we had a huge, obviously, financial catastrophe with the Icelandics and so forth. He says we've lost 65.8 million pounds overall, but look at this. Good Lord. Chelsea have lost 695 million because they have it, right? Doesn't matter how much they lose. Followed by Manchester City, 645. Villa, which they went down for a long time, let's not forget, and Sunderland, who have completely tanked, and Fulham, who are in the championship. So, and if you look at these, they've all gone down long term, basically. I mean, maybe Stoke make them back. I don't know, but these are all.
No, 65 million pounds, nothing.
I think when Celly and them took over, they had it knocked. It was like at 40 something. I could be wrong. You might have to ask Ray. They got to like 30 or 40 when they took over in the beginning. I don't know where it's at now.
Yeah,
Ray
could probably did.
But think about that, man. Think about what since they since 92, we've gone down. What, 3 times since 92?
I think
look at these other clubs that have been sitting in championship, and look at how much money they've lost. And then on the flip side, look at clubs like Chelsea and Man City. They've always stayed up, and they're losing 10 times with the rest of us. That's nuts.
They have the owners with the money, right? That's the thing, is it doesn't matter how much they lose because Man City, the sheikhs just put the money right back into the club. Right.
Yeah.
But isn't that part of the problem though? Is because you look at the clubs that they can lose that kind of money, but still spend that money year over year, window over window.
Well, we can't compete. Look at all the other clubs that have lost money. Look at Villa. They went down for a while. Sunderland, they're in League One. Fulham have bounced up and down, and they're back down now. Borough, I haven't heard about them in a long time. No. Bolton I think they might be in League Two now. They've completely fallen off the map.
Didn't Bolton just lose their team?
No, it was Barry.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So if you look at these numbers, are really astonishing, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know that much about how the finances work. I really don't. So I can't tell you. 65 million pounds lost over the last 27, 28 years. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but maybe it's not. I think what it tells me is that, that basically either you have a big money owner to stabilize you, or you are liable to going down at any moment in any season, right? I mean, that's kind of, to me, what it looks like, basically.
Right.
Because the only way to stay up is to have, sort of a multi-billionaire backing. But so in terms of your question, Ray, what do I think about that? It sounds devastating until I see what everybody else has lost, and it makes me think that our financial management hasn't really been all that bad.
Right.
But let's go back for a minute to managers. Hayden Mullins is at the end of 23s at Watford, Charlie. You're right. My personal pick is always the man I love so much, Scotty Parker. Who's having a good run at Fulham. He's doing okay. He's doing okay at the moment. I love him. He's 3-time Hammer of the Year. I know his history and all that, but even so, what about taking a flyer on like a young, instead of we've gone. You look at these lists, run of managers we've had. Pellegrini, Moyes, Bilic, Allardyce. These are old retread guys. The last time we tried somebody relatively young and inexperienced was Zola, and it turned out to be kind of a disaster. But we played some interesting football, and we did stay up under Zola. Let's not forget it was Grant, another retread who took us down. What would you guys think about like reaching out to Hayden Mullins and saying, or somebody like that, and saying, "Hey, you're 35-year-old manager, come give it a shot."
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Celly. No, go ahead, Celly.
I was gonna say, I think when you're looking for a new manager, there's a bunch of factors that go into it. Obviously, I think the biggest, and especially when you're trying to do something big for your team, is you're going to have that name recognition, like a Pellegrini. But I think at the end of the day, no matter who you get, whether everybody knows him or no one knows him, does the team buy into this person? Now I'm not sitting here necessarily saying that the board or whoever else is going to go and ask each player individually, hey, what do you think about this guy? Because then you're going to have 22 different answers for who you want as manager, and you can't please everybody. You're going to have somebody that comes in and he's kind of a hard ass who's like, okay, well, this is how we're doing stuff, but at the same time, it's also going to listen to, or if something isn't working, it's like, okay, let's adjust and move forward. Because at the end of the day, if the players, and that's ultimately who the manager needs to impress. Like, I mean, we could get somebody we don't like, but as long as the players are all for it, we'll get around. If a team is sitting around putting W's on the board every week, then eventually we'll come around with the manager. But I don't know. It's hard to say because, sometimes recheck guy work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes people want players who used to be at the club. I would think a majority of the time that doesn't work. I don't remember the last time a player came in to lead a managing club for 10 years at a team he used to play for. But
it's pretty, you look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and it's not going great for him, right?
No, it's not going great at all. And that dude has nothing but money, and who wouldn't want to play for Manchester United kind of thing, So I don't know. But and then on the same token, not to ramble, look at Sheffield United, small money, a manager that maybe not too many people know. And they're the highest United in the table right now, So it's I don't know. It's just the players like them.
The guy I come back to, the guy everybody wants, and I would love to have him too, is Eddie Howe at Bournemouth, right? I mean, Eddie Howe is I'm looking at him. I don't just know this off the top of my head, by the way. So I'm looking at this. He's 41. Bournemouth is the only team he's ever managed. I mean, he played until 2007. He started managing in Bournemouth in 2008. I mean, he took over. And now, granted, they were, I think, a couple of divisions down at the time. I think they were done in League One at the time. But even so, he's the guy, right? He's like the golden goose we all want as West Ham fans, or at least a lot of people do. They gave him a shot when he was like 30-something years old and said, hey, just come in and take it over. Now, there was less risk because it wasn't the Premier League, right? And they had not really been an established club. They didn't have a lot of money to worry about. But they basically said, like, okay, do it. I mean, it's hard to imagine Gold and Sullivan because they seem to like these really established guys. But, I mean, I don't know. To me, there's the thought of, why not somebody like a Scott Parker, somebody like a Hayden Mullins, somebody who's young, somebody who's energetic. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? We go down. We're going down anyway.
I think.
No, go ahead, Luis.
Yeah, go.
No,
I think that at this point, we are with the second oldest manager in Premier League, and we have Frank Lampard, we have Eddie Howe, all the younger managers doing well. I think that can relate to NFL. You see that McVay in the Rams did a fantastic job in the last 2 seasons, and now all the teams are trying to go for. I don't know if a guy took went for a cup of coffee with Sean McVay, he's being hired for NFL teams, and I think that the same can apply to Premier League now. If it's a younger and I don't know, full of energy manager, and in the championship, okay, you have the pass to go to Premier League, and I don't think that it's pretty much what Premier League needs because it's big money involved. Television in England is crushing the managers. I remember when I first joined this podcast, I think it was the first or second week of Premier League this year. We were talking about Lampard and how he wasn't going to work because he wasn't experienced. He wasn't that. We spoke a lot of negative things, and he turned out. So I don't think that a younger and full of energy manager is the answer. But I think for West Ham now, we don't have anything to lose. So we are going down with Pellegrini. I don't think we are pretty much in risk now because we have terrible teams there. We have Southampton, which is terrible. Norwich, that you're never going to turn that table, I think. Yeah. So Pellegrini isn't the answer, and younger and hungry manager isn't the answer as well. But I think we are in a position to dare to hire someone different. Scotty Parker, he was my favorite player from West Ham growing up because he was the guy with all the screamer, all the beautiful goals when I first started to watch the matches. But at the end of the day, I don't have a perfect model for manager to move forward. I don't think it's Pellegrini, but I don't think it's Eddie Howe as well because, as Lee said, he's a one-job manager. He just managed Bournemouth, which is in a smaller city.
Burnley. He managed Burnley, but yeah, I mean, he managed Burnley for like 2 seasons, but basically just Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think Burnley is bigger than Bournemouth because they have some history, but it's buried in 80 years of Premier League and games after. So I don't think Eddie Howe is the name because we don't know how he will gonna be in the biggest city in the country, in a giant stadium. I don't know. I think I rather have Eddie Howe instead of Pellegrini, but I don't think he's the answer for a younger manager. I really don't know the answer for that now. Which kind of approach we need to have now?
Well, or do we do like we did with David Moyes and we just bring somebody in? And again, probably it's not going to happen, right? Because the owners are not going to spend the money to fire Pellegrini or sack Pellegrini. They're not going to do it. So what we're talking about here, nothing will happen. It won't matter. It's just a bunch of guys talking on YouTube. However, let's say theoretically we really are, like really relegation threatened in January. Do we sack Pellegrini and do something like bring in an experienced manager who's out there as a free agent or whatever, like we did with David Moyes, where you just come in to bring a guy in for like 6 months and say, get us, keep us up.
Well, okay. So think about this though. It's like, if we want to keep pushing for what we've said we were going to be doing at the start of this little endeavor, was that we were going to be pushing for top 8, right? That we were going to be pushing to stay within the top half of the table. I mean, when you look at what Bilic did with the first season, we looked great. And then even the start of his second season at the helm, I want to say the first couple weeks in, we were like second in the league.
Yeah, but know what that was? That was Demi. That was the Payet effect.
No. I'm not saying that. And I agree. No, it's 100%. But you look at that. But then they handcuffed him by not giving him money to buy the players, and then he started to fall off. And what was the biggest complaint that we had under him? Is that none of our guys had fitness. That he wasn't putting them through the ringer during practice, so they couldn't go the full 90. We looked dog shit by the 60th minute. It was like we had an hour in us, and we were fucked after that. But you think about Bilic, like we were saying earlier, I think Luiz was saying earlier, he's like, Pellegrini's got his hands folded, his head in his hands. He's doing nothing. He's doing fuck all, sitting on the sidelines, stroking his tie. But you looked at Bilic was always at the edge of the technical box, right? Like, your tie's straight. Get the fuck over it.
He's a tie stroker,
right? But you get to But you get
Oh,
to
man.
you think back to Bilic, man, and dude had the passion. So for me, for my dollar, I would say you go with somebody that has West Ham in them. Like maybe not Scotty Parker, fucking Spurs. But you know what I mean? Like you think about. I'm sorry, Lee. I know.
I know, but you know what? Given the circumstances, I'm willing to forgive him because we went down and he was still playing for us anyway.
Yeah, true. There you go. But see, but that's what I'm saying though. Is like you think about former players. I know people have been throwing DeCanio around. I wouldn't go with DeCanio. No. But you think about somebody that's familiar with the West Ham way, right? They're familiar with our ethos. They're familiar with the passion for the club. And I think we look at somebody like Frank Lampard, right? Perfect example. Somebody that came up. I mean, obviously came up through us, but then played for Chelsea for years. So when he comes back and manages Chelsea, he has a vested interest in seeing them be successful beyond just the paycheck, right? Like that's something that sits on him personally. So I would like to see somebody that gives a shit about where we end up, that it's not just about, well, let me live out my 3-year contract and I can go wherever I want because I'm Manuel Pellegrini, right? I want somebody that's going to give their heart the way that we give our heart for this club.
What if we just hand it to Mark Noble?
No, absolutely not.
I don't think
player manager, old school, like Pete Rose in the '80s.
Yeah, my concern about that is then that's gonna be a black mark on Noble when things go wrong. I would rather have somebody that has coached, that has some experience, whether it's in League One, League Two, Bundesliga, what have you. As long as they've had some experience, they've got their badges, and they're ready to fight for the club and fight for the top half of the table, then I'm fine with that. Do I have an answer for who that person is? No, unfortunately, I don't. I know they just sacked what's his name for Hiller's old coach.
Oh yeah, you mean from Bayern? You mean Kovac?
Niko Kovac.
Yeah.
Kovac.
I know he just got the sack, so people were saying like, "Oh, bring him on. He already knows Hilaire." Yeah, but he knows nothing else about our system. He knows nothing else about our players. Like, I want somebody that is going to know these players, know how to get them operating, know how to get them working as a unit, the way that we assume Pellegrini would be able to do.
I wouldn't mind a young. I'm absolutely have nothing against foreign managers or foreign players, either one. At the moment, I wouldn't mind a young English manager who might have a little more respect for the cup competitions, because I always feel as though. Well, I mean, the mandate is always keep us up in the league, right? But
yeah.
I mean, our only chance to win a trophy is through one of either the League Cup or the FA Cup, and it's probably going to be the League Cup if we're honest. Obviously not this year. I wouldn't mind seeing somebody who kind of understands that and would be willing to put out a stronger squad and maybe actually go for a trophy at some point.
No.
But you know what? We got about 15 more minutes. Let's look to next weekend. By the time we're on this show next weekend, this time next week, we will know whether or not we have done the most West Ham thing possible, which is beat Spurs after a long run of terrible results and dreadful form. We will know whether we'll be saying this time next week, oh, Manuel Pellegrini is the greatest manager in the history of West Ham, and we want him forever because he's beaten Spurs. You know what? Even if we win this game, I still say Pellegrini out. And I'm going to say it again next week if we win it. I'm not joking about this, but we'll see. So let's talk about what we do on the right wing with Yarmolenko and Antonio. So Antonio is supposed to be back, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of form he's in, I have no idea. Could he play 90 minutes? I have no idea. Let's assume he can. That may be a big assumption. Do you go with Yarmo, or do you go with Antonio, or do you go with somebody else? Do you Snodgrass out there? How do you line up for Spurs, basically, especially in the midfield?
I think regardless of who you start, if their name isn't Antonio, you bring Antonio in at like the 60th minute just to burn whoever is out on that side. Yep. I think coming off injury, especially the one that he had, you definitely don't want to start him because you don't want to aggravate it trying to get him 90. But what you do is you slowly bring him back in. And, he could be the super sub. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he was subbed in last year against – no, I don't think he's subbed in, but just with his speed and the way that he bullies people off the ball, bring him in about, 60 minutes and just have him, run over whoever is out there who definitely is guarding somebody slower in either a Snodgrass or a Yarmolenko.
Charlie, you've been uncharacteristically quiet. What do you think?
I would put Yarmo up top with Haller, but that's not going to happen. He plays forward for his national team. He's not a fucking winger. He's slow. Okay, I've seen him make how they get the sap from the tree to maple syrup is quicker. Trust me. Listen, I would put it on the outside. If Antonio, we don't know how much he's going to give us, but we need that speed on the outside. And I would put Anderson behind Haller. As much firepower as we could get up top, I want to start. Let's go for it. Let's go. Let's nick the lead. Let's get 2 goals. Then at halftime, if you want to drop the guys that are, I don't know what formation he's going to run, say they're wings. Well, make them mids. Drop them back. Drop people back. But let's get up there. Let's go for it. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously Haller needs some help. And I don't think Yarmolenko way out there on the outside is helping anybody.
No.
You know, he's just too slow.
Absolutely.
I think he should be in the box with Haller, and he should be getting fed balls, both of them.
No. Well, think about the goals that Yarmo scored was right there in the box, right? It was almost identical goals. Both of those.
They couldn't handle him. They couldn't handle him. He was big and muscle. They couldn't stop him.
But this would be my one caveat, right? Is I think a lot of people have been calling for Anderson as like more of a center attacking mid, which I like. I like it in theory, but who then do you put on the wings that has any speed? So I would say I like where your head's at, Charlie. I would keep Anderson on the left. I'd put Snodgrass on the right, and then sub him out at maybe like 65, 70 minutes. Put Antonio in for that final push up in the box, and you put Yarmo as like a false 9, right? You keep Haller up top, right, and then you've got Yarmo directly behind him, and then you've got Anderson and Snodgrass on the wings because both of them will pass forward, which. No offense to Declan, he doesn't fucking do, but both of them will forward pass and they'll lump balls into the box. And Fredericks on the overlap will put balls in the box, as will Cresswell. I like Masuaku, but I almost think that he'd be better to bring in to sub out Anderson because right now I still don't think Anderson can go a full 90. So I would say you keep Yarmo in the startup, you put Snod and Anderson out on the wings. You've got you can't have Noble right now, right? Because he's injured. Lanzini's injured.
Noble might be available. Noble might be available, from what I understand.
So let's touch wood, right? Say he's available. You've got Declan and Noble in the middle. You've got I got to bring in Ogbonna. Fucking Balbuena can go.
No question.
I wouldn't even put a Balbuena in the fucking starting. 18.
No,
absolutely not.
But you partner Ogbonna with Diop. And then instead of Roberto, I just build a brick wall in front of the fucking goal and just call it good.
Can you play 11 outfield players and not have a goalkeeper? Is that legal in the game of football?
My fucking 4-year-old on the game yesterday didn't let a single goal sneak by him. As soon as I subbed him out, the other team put in 2. I'll put him in. He's fucking 3 feet tall. Put him in.
Like in the NHL, when you pull the goalie for the 6th attacker, right? If you're behind at the end, I'm in. What if we just played 90 minutes without a keeper? And we just said 5 across the back.
Can it be worse? Than what we got?
I put 3 center backs.
Put a chair there.
See, okay, so let me ask you guys this. So say Winston Reed is game ready, right?
No.
Do you put Ogbonna, Reed, and Diop as a 3-man back line and play a 3-5-2?
There's no way Winston Reed's game ready.
I'm not going to put Valbuena out there. I'd rather put anybody out there. I'll put Diop, Ogbonna, Reed if he's ready. Who knows?
Yeah,
but I would go with that. We need 3 back there. But listen to this. All right, and they took off Ogbonna. I got this, right? Check this out. In 8 games this season with Ogbonna, we conceded 8 goals and lost 1. Without him in 4 games, we conceded 12 and lost 3. And he takes them off the pitch and he puts Balbuena out there.
That's unbelievable.
Bro, those numbers are ridiculous. It's like, and Roberto needs all the help he can get. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I don't know what we do. What do we do?
By the way, did you guys read about David Martin? How the tweets started coming out like hey guys, David Martin really doesn't play for West Ham. He's like a training ground goalkeeper.
He's the custodian. He's the custodian. He changes the light bulbs and mops up after the practice. He mows the pitch. He's mowing the pitch after the practice.
He just shags balls, which I guess shags balls be something different in England. But, you know, in the U.S.,
Right.
when you hit baseballs and you get out of the outfield, you got some kid out there running and collecting the balls. He's shagging balls. And Roberto just like, I mean, David Martin, all he does, I think, is just like take up space. And, I mean, let's face it, he's Alvin Martin's son, and that makes a big difference. So, but, yeah, I love these tweets come out like, hey, listen, guys, we're not going to start David Martin because he doesn't like really play Premier League football. It's like he's just there to go on the training ground.
That's crazy. That's so West Ham. That's so West Ham right there.
That's the most West Ham thing I heard.
I do like the thing that Neil said too about possibly putting Antonio up top with Hilaire. I think that would be a very bullish, top two strikers.
Yeah.
If we don't play,
but I don't think Pellegrini will ever play a different system. I don't know because I never see him play a 3-5-2 or something different from 4 in the back. But I rather have that system for West Ham now because we need that extra coverage. I have an article here from the Felipe. He came through the ranks of Santos, which is the same team as Neymar. They actually played together. The coach, the manager at the time was one of the biggest Brazilian coaches ever, called Muricy Ramalho. And he said that Felipe Anderson is a very good and talented player, but he has, how can I translate that for English? He has building problems because he needs to be involved in the game to be awake, basically. So it is not being every time on the I don't know, on the wing or even in a 10 role. He will be out from the game. He will be like he's doing now with the back passes or that lacking of confidence. So he needs to be fired up to be productive. So that comes from September 2011. So it's not a kind of, that's not the kind of problem that we are discovering now that Felipe has. I'm Brazilian. I love him. I see him in the national team. He's good. He's talented, but he needs support. So does Hilaire. So in the current system, if we don't change the 4-1-4-1, I can't even say which system Pellegrini is playing now. But if we can change that for a 3-5-2 or something more focused on defense, I don't think we can have anything from the Spurs game. And I really want that West Ham way winning mentality against Spurs that we always have once a year, because it's the first Hammers Brazil event that we're going to have a national gathering, 1,500 people, I don't know, but I don't think we can have anything from that game because we are really, really lacking desire. I know Spurs is on their own kind of problems, but they are better than us.
They're better than we are.
I don't think
it's definitely a game that we can take 3 points out of, especially at home.
They're not in form.
Yeah, it can go either way. It can go either way. I don't think if there is a Spurs cast or a Spurs American TV cast, they will be speaking exactly the same thing that we are. They're speaking about how they can change the style of play to get something from the game, because we always go there and upset them. But I don't think West Ham at this time can do anything. But I hope I'm wrong, because otherwise we'll be 50 or 100 sad Brazilians.
Well, but this
fans.
I mean, what if let's just say that let's say we go out and get tonked. It's a 4-0, it's a 5-0. Obviously I hope not. I mean, what?
4:30 in the morning. I hope not.
Yeah, I was going to. Well, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, no, I hope not too. But what does it take to get Pellegrini booted? I mean, anything? Is it possible at all at this point? What I'm wondering is, and obviously I want us to win. Always want us to win. If we just absolutely collapse in this match, and we really get tonked by what is currently our biggest rival, because we don't play Millwall on a regular basis, at least not until we're in the championship next season. I mean, does it build pressure on him? What do you guys think? It's all speculation. I know we don't know, but I mean, what do you guys think?
I think losing to Spurs and Chelsea the next week. I think those two results. If we are totally, I was going to say a bad word here. But if we are not doing anything, yeah. If we're getting raped in those two games, I don't think we are. Yeah. I say it was bad. It's my Brazilian mind. If we're doing nothing in the next two games against Spurs and Chelsea, I think he's in a bad shape. I don't think he can overcome anything.
Yeah,
I think the only thing that would cause them to like sack him in the season with games left is empty seats, to where they're like, we take an even bigger loss, and that's it. That's what it comes down with these guys, because like my guy, they're tie strokers, all of them. Oh, Liam, I like that, tie strokers. They're a bunch of tie strokers, and that's the only thing that's going to get Pellegrini sacked during the season. And let's be honest, that's what it is. If they come out there and there's like 15,000, 10,000 people, then they're going to be like, oh man, we better buy them out so we can, sell the rest of these tickets. And we ain't going to sell this merchandise.
That used to happen. Listen, go on Twitter and follow Vinny WHU and watch he posts videos of old goals from, going many years back. Look at how many times there was a game played at Upton Park with like 18,000 people in attendance, or 20.
Oh, wow.
That place held about 35K, is about the size of Fenway Park, I think. They're not huge, but I mean, many, many, many highlights. Go look at West Ham's stats. I don't know if the attendance numbers are out there, but go look at any of these old match recaps from the 80s and 90s. There are a lot of games played in front of empty seats. And, when people were mad about the bond scheme or whatever the issue was at the time, they would walk away. And I mean, sometimes, as hard as it is to not support your club, sometimes the best way to support your club is not to support your club. It's basically to say, we're not going to put up with this. And you're right. Listen, Charlie's right. You walk into London Stadium in January and there's 15,000 people dotted around. That's going to send a message. Else.
Yeah.
And now that stadium's big, so if you have that, that's going to be. It's not like up there. You might. Oh well, there's only 20. That don't look as bad, but 60-something thousand, and you only have 15, 20,000. That's going to look more than half empty, and that's going to look bad on TV. And then they're gonna. Then the wheels will turn. Then they'll sack them to get the fans back.
But you've seen on Twitter where people are getting like banned for trying to resell tickets, right? So it's like they're tracking this down. So it's like anybody that's a season ticket holder has got to be on eggshells to try to hand those tickets off to somebody else, because and I think it's because they're already probably feeling that effect. They're already probably starting to feel where people aren't filling those seats. So now they're trying to curb that. They're trying to get ahead of it, knowing that this may be a problem further down the road. But I'll be honest, I think they let him ride out his contract. I think if we go down, I think he calls it because he's not going to try to coach in the championship. Yeah, so I think if we go down, that's the only way that he gets shit canned. I think otherwise he's sitting on a payday one way or the other. He's got nothing to lose. And that's what I was saying before is like, we need somebody that's invested, that they are going to feel it. If we go down, they are going to feel it when we lose a game. And this,
and it's going to take either what Charlie's talking about, or it's going to take what happened last time. Again, the pitch invasion embarrassed the owners big time. It did. Yeah. And again, I don't want to listen. I don't want to condone that stuff, but sometimes it's like civil disobedience, right? It's like you have to go out and protest for your rights. And I know that we're not talking about anything as important as that here. We're talking about football. All right. We're not talking about human rights, but the idea is the same, is that you have to do something to get their attention. Yeah. And I think it's going to take something like that. If these performances continue, you're going to have, a pitch invasion. You're going to have fan trouble one way or another. And I don't want that, but that's the way it's going to be. That may be what it takes to get them to actually do something about him.
If we go down 3-0 to Spurs at halftime, boys, it might get crazy. It might get nutty. It might get nutty in there. I'm telling you right now. I promise.
But at least now when they pitch invade, they get to at least walk across from claret carpet. So, we'll take that for a week.
Right.
Hey, you got to be in good shape because you got to, good 30 yards till you even hit the pitch. You got to shake some people.
At least.
You know, you got to be in good shape. I don't know how the old man Bubbles, I was like, go on, son. Go ahead. I love it. He's like 80 years old out there. Oh, my God. And he even said, he ran on. He told one of the guys, he's like, look, I've been here 50 years. You've been here 9 years. F off.
Right.
He told him. Hey, I love it.
He's
That's what he told him. So it could happen. We go down 3-0 halftime. Oh, my God. It's going to be ugly.
And that kind of goes into a conversation me and Lee had a couple of weeks ago about fans and watching the team is, being, West Ham being a working class team, we support hard work. And like I said earlier, it's easy to see when you're not getting that from anybody. So I think kind of tying the conversation here with the manager is you want to get a manager. And I agree with Liam. First off, let me say this, that I think he stays through the rest of his contract. I will say if we get relegated, I don't think it'll be his choice to leave, but like Liam said, at the end of the day, he's getting paid regardless. But whenever that next manager comes in, because, Pellegrini can win the championship this year, turn the whole thing around. He's still, old as far as, managing is concerned. He's not going to be here forever. So whoever the next guy is, you want somebody who is that hardworking guy, somebody who takes ownership in a team's poor performance, especially if you're the guy who's out here putting the team out on the field. You should know who your best guys are. Don't play favorites because, I really like this guy. He bought me coffee one day. No, forget all that. Like if he's going to get you coffee, but then come in and just sit on the side all day, don't play him, And I think that at the end of the day, that's what you want to see.
Yeah. It depends, man. If that coffee's Dunkin' Donuts, then, you got to do it
right.
Right.
Dude, Dunkin'.
Dunkin's is so bad. I hate Dunkin's. But that's all we have in New England is Dunkin's. Everywhere is Dunkin's.
No, it's across the street and then around the corner.
What if they get rid of players that he wants, or they don't get him the players that he wants? We had Alan Kirbishley. He resigned.
That's right.
And that was because I think they sold off some guys that he wanted to keep.
That's true.
And he's like, how am I going to coach the team? And I'm telling you, I want Joe, Schmo, and Bill, and you just got out of. And if the article's true, where Pellegrini's like, yo, I need a winger. I need a backup goalie. And they told him, nah, hey, you got what you got. At the end of the year, I don't see him sacking him, but I can see him being a respectful elder of the game. Like, look, y'all not going to mess my name up if you're not going to give me the spices to cook with. But I don't think they're going to buy it out.
It's true. As much as I think Pellegrini should go, the problem is always with the owners. Right? I mean, the underlying problem is always with the owners. Yes, I know they spent some money a couple of seasons ago. They've invested some, but I feel the way you do, Charlie. I mean, the problem is always with the owners, and that's the harder. We can't change that.
Maybe that's just where it starts. Got to replace them first.
Right.
Trickle down.
Right. So we're a little bit over time, but let's go ahead and do it. These are kind of stupid to do this because we don't even know team sheets or anything else, but let's do Spurs predictions before we go. You want to start, Celly? We'll just go around the thing here.
Talking about like a final score?
Final score. Or anything else you want to say is going to happen.
Oh, man. I think after international break, the first half will be 0-0. I think it'll be a little bit back and forth, but I'm not expecting much out of the first half. Second half, I don't know. I think it'll finish 3-1. I'm always nervous after the first game from a break because, that week off, obviously you don't have the whole team there and obviously have some people playing for their country, which is great because they're still getting that fitness and game time. Right. But I don't know. It's weird because the thing that bit us the first time, we were playing great throughout that first break and the second break hit and now we're playing like trash. So now it's this break. So we'll see what happens. But I think 2-1. Whoever wins, this will be 2-1.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think, Liam?
1-0 to the Cockney boys. It's gotta be. It's gotta be, man. Like, yeah, I think we turn up for Spurs. I think just like what we did last season was, we struggled against teams that everybody thought we were going to be able to nick points from. And then we turn up for the top clubs, right? Like what, 1-0 over Arsenal.
It's the West Ham way.
It is 100%, man. And I think it's serendipitous to have Antonio eligible for this match. I think he comes in off the bench, he hammers one home, and he fucking pony rides his way to the claret carpet. Game over.
All right, who you got, Charlie?
All right. And well, my family would disown me if I said anything other than West Ham winning. I will say 2-1. And we're gonna beat the dirty bastards from the north. And we're gonna I can't whether I believe it or not, I cannot say that we're gonna lose to no Spurs. Ain't happening. Maybe some magic happens. I think Felipe bends one. And then we get a header. 2-1 West Ham. And I'm gonna act a fool. You better believe it. Or I'm gonna be sick and have a heart attack. Either way.
Well, for me, I think heart says 1-0 to West Ham. Head says 1-0 to Spurs. So I'm gonna stick with a draw 1-1. I'm usually more confident about a game against Spurs, but the last 3 or 4 games for me was so abysmal that I can't trust anything that the club is doing now. So a draw 1-1. But yeah, I hope I'm wrong. Let's see.
Well, first of all, before we get to the last prediction, I'm going to Charlie ask what's the best donut. The answer is Donna's Donuts in Tewksbury, Mass. So, and we'll be taking no further questions at this time. Thank you. But I'm going to say that we absolutely win this game. We win 1-0. I'm with Liam on this because it's the most West Ham thing possible. And it's like Occam's razor, right? The thing that's most likely to happen is the most likely explanation, or whatever that is. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. The most likely explanation is the one that's probably correct.
Yeah.
The most likely thing to happen is that we win because we're in total crisis, because we want to sack the manager, because our biggest current rival is coming into our much maligned stadium. So the logical thing would be for us to win, for us to lose 5-0. But you know what's going to happen? We're going to win 1-0, and then we're going to sit here again on the next Sunday night and be like, huh.
Hopefully it's a convincing 1-0. Yeah, hopefully it's a convincing 1-0 and not like a lucky own goal or something like that.
No, it'll be a Spurs scores first, but VAR chalks it off.
Yes.
And then we score one, we get it chalked off, and then we score another one at the death just to fucking send them out.
I'll take it however I can get it.
That's
however I can get it. We're due for one. That's what my dad used to say. We're due for one.
Mark Noble in injury time, and he takes it all the way from his end. He does a Maradona in 86, and he dribbles all the way through the Spurs side.
Oh, what was it? Was it Watford last game of season last year? Where he just
yes,
coast to coast, baby.
Easily my favorite goal of last season, man.
Absolutely brilliant goal.
Love it.
Right. It is Sunday night. It is after 10 o'clock in Boston. It's I don't know what time it is in Brazil. It's very late, but I have to go to.
It's already Monday.
Oh, it's really? Well, I know it's Monday in Australia. We know that. So, Celly, as always, on Sunday nights, thanks for being with us. Liam, Luiz, and Charlie, all of you guys all over the world, so glad to have you with us. And all I can say at this point is thanks for being with us, everybody in the chat room. Charlie, in the middle of the night in England. Everybody else who was here, appreciate it. And come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on.